Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We're talking about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. And it's a Tuesday, and I'm back today with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going, Bill?
I am doing fine. Thank you for asking.
All right, we will get right into this.
I'm up, as you can tell. I'm up in the kitchen today. It's a little cold down in the office cellar. So
We do. It's funny. It's 43 and somewhat sunny
yeah,
outside right now.
it's supposed to get up to 50 today.
Yeah, we'll get rid of all the snow.
I'm going for a walk this afternoon.
Well, good. I've already been with my animals. All right. So here's our first lead-off story. Tesla breaks into Consumer Reports top 10 for reliability rankings for the first time. For years they've been rated near the bottom. Now, part of that is reliability. A lot of that factors in all of the recalls that keep happening. Every time they do an on-air update on a Tesla, they consider that to be a recall, which is a strange classification. And so Consumer Reports has always hated on Tesla. Now, to be fair, Tesla's not manufactured cars for very many years when you compare it to the big three automakers or Toyota.
100 years, yeah.
Yeah. And so they've been trying to kind of figure some things out. And plus, they make almost every part of their vehicles. Whereas so many of the others have these big supply chains.
Yeah, and contractors, yeah.
And Tesla makes a little bit of everything. But anyways, Tesla ranked 9th in Consumer Reports 2026 reliability, their first time in the top 10 after years near the bottom. The Model 3 and the Model Y show the strongest reliability gains due to long production cycles and drivetrain maturity. I find that kind of an interesting statement. The Model X still lags with trim and door issues, but overall trajectory shows EVs are becoming more dependable. Well, I don't know that EVs have been non-dependable. It's kind of an interesting opinion. Has that really been the case that they've been less dependable, Bill?
I have only owned an EV since a pure total EV since 2019. Up to that point, all my others have been hybrids. I've owned 2 hybrids. And I had issues with the I had issues with the first one. They had to do a complete battery pack replacement after I think we were about 10, 15,000 miles, something like that on the Honda. And I can't tell you how many batteries I replaced on the 12 volt, not the big pack. The big pack got only replaced twice on the Prius, but that's a completely different subject. That's not That's not Toyota's fault. That's a decision that I made that required those replacements. So. But other than that, my electrics, my Fiat, and so far my Bolt have been just great. No reliability problems whatsoever.
Yeah, I find that kind of fascinating to make this. Now, I remember early on, a lot of the arguments were the Tesla body kits. Everything wasn't perfect. There was always little discrepancies and, different parts of the manufacturing.
The very first time BYD brought their first plug-in hybrid to America, I can't tell you how many people came to the Berkshire Hathaway car show, or Berkshire Hathaway shareholders meeting, and also the one I saw at Detroit, guys comparing the gaps. So, hey, that's just part of the game of building an automobile. You have gaps and you work to improve those gaps through better engineering, better manufacturing, and employee education, assembly worker education. So, yeah, that's to be expected. That's nothing unusual.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying that some of these things, are they really an issue? The Model X, it's talking about trim and door issues. I think a lot of people have had issues with the Falcon doors.
It's been primarily the Falcon doors, is my understanding. Yeah,
I mean, nobody else has that.
And even Elon noted that maybe I shouldn't have done that with the car, because boy, the problems we ran into trying to engineer that thing. I mean, it's an interesting idea, but it's been plagued with a share of problems.
Yeah, it's certainly a unique idea on opening the door in tight spaces. Oh,
Yeah,
it
definitely.
is that. All right. Morgan Stanley downgrades Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid, warns of an EV winter. Now, this is kind of, funny because I'm not so sure that this analyst is aware that Tesla's and these brands sell in other countries. The only place that's having a challenge right now with selling them is the U.S., and that's just because of, the fact that
Well,
they're
yeah, across the brand models, Tesla, of course, has experienced sales shortfalls, particularly in Germany.
Mhm.
I guess I don't know. I keep seeing different. I see different headlines. One headline says Toyota can't keep up with the demand in China, and another one says that they aren't selling well at all. So I don't know. Who do you believe?
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, right? Um, Morgan Stanley's new analyst, Andrew Percoco, um, cut Tesla from overweight to equal weight, Rivian and Lucid to sell ratings, which I find that kind of funny. The future sucks. Well, hopefully it won't for you. Um, Rivian price target is slashed a third to $12.
Okay, I lost the audio again.
Oh, Bill's going to have to log out and come back in. Lucid to $10 from $30.
Okay, bye.
Amps. Um, anyways, well, let's see what Bill's doing. He hasn't quite made it off yet. Anyways, analysts warn of extended EV hangover with tougher market conditions heading into 2026, citing valuation concerns. I don't know if I'd really agree with some of this. I guess my main reasoning is that Tesla's main market is China, and it's not the United States. And then and it's doing well in China. And then the other thing is Rivian's bringing new products to market. I think that that's going to keep increasing their sales, and Lucid's definitely been picking up their sales as well. So I just don't see these as the same issues that people are speculating. Is that any better, Bill?
Yeah, I apparently when I cannot type on my keyboard in the comments section without losing my audio.
Oh no, that
Is-
one's
I,
bizarre.
yeah, I typed in there amps, right? Whoever
You must
Orange.
have you must have some kind of mute button that controls your audio that's on your keyboard.
Yeah, but it's clear on the opposite end of where I was typing. So I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't
Yeah,
know. Anyway, I'm back.
yeah, there you go. It's one of the bad things. Like if I use my laptop to do anything, there's always a chance that I
Well, that's what
accidentally mute or
yeah,
turn the volume on really loud.
I'm using the laptop right now, so that explains it.
Yeah, so I suspect it's something just weird about that keyboard. Anyways, now in light of, I was just still talking about the fact that Morgan Stanley thinks Lucid's going to drop by 2/3, and
Okay.
I think that's a little, I don't know. I just have a hard time agreeing with that. We've seen steady climbing by Rivian and Lucid after years of them struggling, and now they just seem to be doing a little bit better all the time. What the heck? Microsoft down 21%? Hold
Really?
on. Hold
Nah.
on. Hey, Yogi, I think we've got hallucinations in the scrolling feed. Um, there we go.
Yeah,
Um,
Rivian's down 0.14%.
yeah. Um, anyways, let's see where Microsoft comes up now, because it was actually showing one of the stocks as being up 92%. There's no way it's up 92% today. I guess it's possible. It was a nuclear
There it
stock, but
comes.
still, here comes Microsoft.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah, 0.04. That's
4%. Yeah.
it's like Microsoft never fluctuates 20% in a day. I mean, something crazy would have been going on there. New scale up 0.79. Yeah, there was something wild going on where this was generated. We've had it happen before where the decimal points have gotten moved.
Yeah.
So
somebody programming in the background.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just it's tough because some of these things are fed to us automatically by AI now,
Right.
and man, AI makes way more mistakes than a lot of people would believe. I don't know. It's just hard sometimes to fathom how many mistakes I see AI make. And so it's really important when you do anything with AI, make sure you go back and you
check
Yep. What it's talking about and verify things. You can tell it, most AIs, to simply fact check itself. And a lot of times, just when it does that, it'll catch more than you
that's
would.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, Tesla has an aggressive end-of-year sales push. Is 0% APR, free upgrades, zero down leases. These are apparently unprecedented. 0% APR on the Model Y, free inventory upgrades, and $0 down payment leases. Aggressive push to meet Q4 delivery targets before year end. Shows increased competition and need to stimulate demand despite strong brand position. What we got? Yeah, something emulating humans making mistakes, inconceivable. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a challenge looking at some of these things. I'm not going to claim that I'm an expert on on different things with AI. I use a number of different programs. I have a favorite. We use for the generating of the show and our YouTube channel. We use ChatGPT. We use Perplexity. We use GenSpark. We use 11 Labs. I'm sure there's others we use as well. The GenSpark one gives us access to other models. So we're actually probably using a lot of them across the board. But they still, they make mistakes.
Yep. I use Copilot. I use ChatGPT. I use Pi AI. And let's see, what else? And I use Claude AI. Claude AI helps me with my mead recipes.
Well, and Claude's best known for being the leader in coding.
Yep.
So if you're doing any type of coding, it helps. But GenSpark accesses Claude for doing coding. It's a challenge looking at all the different ones you might use. Like I'll use Gemini when I'm in Google or in one of my Gmail products, and I will use Copilot when I'm in some of my Microsoft products. And it's interesting how you're seeing everybody's products kind of tied in along the way to try to make things easier. But even still, it's more about AI is more about what you prompt and asking it to have conversation and letting it do research.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the thing we did a week ago on trying to catch the wild turkey, and having the Tesla robot catch the wild turkey. Because the whole thing was a debate between one of my kids and I about whether I could actually be fast enough to catch a turkey, because we have so many wild turkeys in the area. And so, and GenSpark actually acted concerned as to why I'd want to, harm one of these wild birds. And it's like, well, it's not like I didn't have a turkey in the freezer, but you just never know there. But anyways, somehow we got away from the discussion.
Yes, Tesla's lease deal.
Yeah. Let's see here. It's interesting too, because the one about U.S. grid storage hitting, record highs, that one keeps coming up. More and more people keep publishing the same news over and over again. We keep seeing that one constantly cycling through. All right. So a revolutionary EV charging billing model has been proposed.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Utility bill drivers directly. It's going to bill you as a driver directly as opposed to being part of your electric bill. Utilities would bill EV drivers directly at their home's electricity rate via API handshake between car, charger, and utility. So we talked about like if we're going to a fast charger somewhere. Is that the idea here, Bill?
Well, the idea is that right now, because of state power regulations, a supplier, a charge point, or that class of commercial charging up separate from what Tesla's doing with their system, they can't sell you electricity. They technically can only sell you the time that you're on the meter and then bill that accordingly. So, and then what you've got is this multiplicity of different RFID cards and smart apps and all those kinds of things. Whereas ideally what you want, and this article points out, that ideally what you want is the Tesla model, where you just pull up to the charger, take it off, plug it into the car, and all said and done. There are no RFID cards, none of that. It's just as soon as you plug it in, the network recognizes your car and then bills you accordingly. Now, it's not necessarily what they're proposing. It's not necessarily tied to what that supplier is paying for electricity. They may be paying a much higher rate than what your home electricity is. So there's some work. What they're trying to do here is make the thing simple. You pull up to anybody's charger, you plug in your car, and you get billed at whatever your home electricity rate is.
This sounds a lot more like how the ATM infrastructure works.
Exactly.
So if you go to your own bank and you use the ATM and pull out cash, they don't charge you a fee. But you go to some store that's got its own ATM in there, it's not affiliated with your bank, you might have a couple dollar fee, and then your bank might charge you a couple bucks. Okay. This would essentially, so what would happen here is the companies that own the charge points would earn an infrastructure fee instead of getting the margin on the electricity. That actually kind of makes sense, right?
Yep, exactly.
As long as it's viable, as opposed to trying to figure out how much to mark up the electricity. One of the things that I've not understood is electricity is supposed to be monopolized. Okay, so most places except Texas have a monopoly in place for energy, or at least electricity. And so you've got this issue of, can you charge, do you have to get permission to charge extra for electricity? The infrastructure fees make a whole lot more sense to me.
Yep.
And it would overcome local regulations.
It could and remove some consumer, because if you go to any gas station, you can give them your credit card or you just pay them cash and that's it, right? Whereas here you may have to have 3 or 4 different kinds of cards on you, or several different apps on you. You may have to call up on the phone to get whatever. It's just trying to simplify the process, and I think that makes sense.
It does. It would certainly simplify economics. What Owen's saying about the 3-phase service costs more monthly. Yeah, it's certainly there's a commercial cost to that infrastructure provider, but what they're saying here is you would simply pay the infrastructure fee for using that charger. So but it would actually get billed to you via
at the rate that you're paying, at your residential rate,
plus whatever those charges are for.
Right.
That,
so you might. So we pay a little over 12 cents, I think, something like that here for utilities. So my electricity, if I went down to a charger in Nebraska City or something and charged there, I would pay that 12 cents per kilowatt for what I'm charging, plus then whatever fee that might be tacked on by the charge point or the EV America or whoever it happens to be. And that might be a flat $5 to use our charger, for example, plus the electricity.
Yeah. So one of the problems here in the U.S. if you're charging on a Tesla charger, you're going to experience a failure rate of maybe 1% or less. But if you're on other charging networks, the typical average failure rate on non-Tesla chargers is over 20%.
Yeah.
And almost all of that, 90+% of that, is due to payment issues, not due to the fact that somebody had
supplying the electricity.
Yeah, there wasn't a way to supply the electricity. It was they couldn't get the payment system to communicate. So if this went through, that would make everybody probably be around a 99% charging success, which would be a really big win for all the people who can't use the Tesla network. Anyways, let's see. All right, so the Tesla Model Y has been passed up for the best-selling EV in the world.
Yeah, this is interesting.
One, yeah, I'm going to show the picture of it before I say who it is, although it does say on the picture who it is.
Yeah.
But this is kind of fancy. Apparently, this
is
not
not available in America.
Not available in the U.S. It's the fastest selling EV. This particular one in the picture is a BYD Denza. It is a minivan, and it's very few outside of China have ever driven one, but it outsells Tesla Model Y worldwide. And to figure, the Model Y up till about a year ago was the best-selling car in the world, not just EV. So Tesla drivers don't use an app. You get set up when you buy your Tesla. You just hook it up to some type of payment system. And while you do have the Tesla app, what I'm getting at is
it's not required to access a charger.
Yeah,
it's all built into the network.
It's built into the car, and so while it is accessing an app for the Tesla car, it's a different setup. Whereas if you're charging somewhere else, there's every different charge point has its own app, and you have to get set up for payment processing. And driver error could be a huge part of that. But that's just one of the things. Tesla made their system simple, and the others don't have quite the same luxury to do that because they're not affiliated with car manufacturer. Right. Now, what's happened is Tesla now allows 8 to 10 other car brands to use Tesla chargers and get set up the same way. So General Motors, Mercedes, BMW, Hyundai,
I think
Ford.
Honda.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. Most of the major ones now have switched so that, or I shouldn't say they've switched, but they've set up for NACS charging, which has a different adapter. So you have to have a different adapter as well, but so that the cars can all work with the Tesla network because it's just so much smoother. But they can still use the other chargers. They can still use the CCS chargers, which are more common, but there's, like I said, there's an infinite number of operators of those chargers. But anyways, this BYD Denza, it's the Denza D9 built by BYD. It's become the fastest selling electric vehicle on the planet. It managed that feat without setting foot in the US market. Let's see if it says anything. I don't know if it's got anything. It's got two versions, a plug-in hybrid or a fully electric all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive version has 313 horsepower. The starting price is only $32,700 for one of these.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't expect that. That looks like $100,000 vehicle.
And what you're getting originally, this was the Denza brand was a collaboration between Mercedes-Benz. Back then, I think it was called Daimler. But it's between Mercedes-Benz and BYD. And then they formed that in 2000, I think it was 2014. And they then, BYD bought out Mercedes piece of the partnership in 2024, just last year. So this is partly German engineered.
Yeah. Yeah. This is. Let me see if I can share this. Yeah. Look at the inside of this vehicle. You got this lady laying down, and it's even got a leg rest that kicks out. Okay. And she's leaning back into the seat behind her. So it's certainly.
So it's a six passenger, maybe 7 passenger.
At least.
Yeah.
It's obviously very sharp looking.
Well, while we're talking about Chinese-made minivans, who was the company? Geely has now taken the Guinness Guinness Book of Records for putting the most number of people inside a minivan. Guess how many people they fit in the minivan?
59.
No, that's not bad, but 42.
Damn.
42 petite little Chinese dancers. They squeezed into a Geely minivan, winning them the Guinness World Book of Records.
Oh man! So the Geely is the new clown car.
I guess it's the new, but they're cute little, female Chinese dancers, petite as can be, which would obviously you'd want to try to squeeze as many people, but yeah.
Wow. Let's see here.
A football team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. How many linebackers can you squeeze into a minivan? That's the new record, huh?
Yeah. All right. Our next topic is Waymo. 6 months ago, Waymo disclosures providing 250,000 robotaxi rides a week across its.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I should call it Wobo taxi. Like I was calling the Tesla robotaxi tuber. I should call it Wobo taxi.
Right, there you go, Wobo taxi. Yeah.
Wobo taxi. Let's see. And at the time, 6 months ago, that included Atlanta, Austin, LA, Phoenix, and the San Francisco Bay Area. What's interesting about that is I have tried several times to request a Waymo when I've been in Phoenix or LA, and I can never get one. I see them driving around all over the place, but I've never, when I've tried to order one, there's never been one available, or most of the time I'm in the wrong area. Right. But even when I've tried to get one, it's not been available. The new proposed
there I have no idea.
I've got no idea about that. That's a little too technical for the auto manufacturing piece. I'm not familiar with that. I do think that you got Ford and some others that are really looking to go heavy into that small truck segment, and especially in the EV space. We'll see where that goes. I mean, obviously you got Scout that's coming out. Well, I'm sorry, not Scout. What's the new one? I mean, Scout's a new one, but what is the one? Slate.
Right.
Clean
slate. Right.
Yeah, I'm not super bullish on Slate. My reasoning is that if Ford enters into the same space, Ford is the king of trucks. I think we really have a hard time.
Yeah, I assume what you're referring to here is the Trump implementing a rollback of the fuel efficiency standards, which of course would encourage the car builders to focus on building more of their large pickups as opposed to vehicles like the Maverick or what used to be. Do they make the Ranger anymore? I don't know if they even make the Ranger anymore. But that that smaller size pickup truck. There, I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, the Ranger basically turned into the Maverick, which makes no sense. I mean,
Yeah.
But the Ranger was also a two-door truck,
Right.
and the Maverick's a four-door truck, but still, I don't know. I thought that the Ranger name was less confusing. Maverick makes you think they brought back that little car that they used to sell. So, while it is a traditional Ford name, I just thought it was kind of odd that they chose that.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to what's going on with Waymo. Waymo has now in 6 months improved that number from 250 to 450,000 robo-taxi rides weekly, nearly
Wow.
doubled it.
And I don't know whether it's just poor reporting or whether they just don't have any accidents. Have you seen? I haven't seen any.
They drive so slow. I have a hard time seeing them have accidents. They're I don't know how responsible. There was a big news was a week ago when one drove through an active crime scene, and
didn't see the yellow tape, huh?
Yeah, well, they didn't have yellow tape, but the police had like somebody on the ground, and the Waymo is dodging the police vehicles and going around them. Yeah, which was, I don't know if it had anybody in it or not, but I'm sure that was a awkward situation. They're adding Dallas, Denver, Houston, Nashville, and San Diego.
Wow.
So they're expanding. Tesla's doing the same thing with their robo-taxi division. It's interesting. The driverless taxis are becoming a big thing. Yeah, it's hard to fathom. All electric.
Did you see the Optimus failure? The video of the Optimus failure?
No, what did it do?
They were doing some kind of a demonstration, and it was serving drinks to people, and it just suddenly it went like this and knocked over a bunch of the drinks, and then it went like that and fell backwards.
Yeah. Well, I think we already knew it wasn't going to catch the wild turkey for me.
No. Well, it'll be a while before it does that.
That's for sure. But I'm trying to promote that as the new benchmark for automated robots,
right?
Whether they can catch a wild turkey or not.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Let's get into Elon Musk calls for the European Union to be abolished after X was fined $140 million for not censoring people that somebody in the EU disagreed with. So they were fined 120 million euros, which is about 140 million US, for violating the new Digital Services Act. Musk responded by calling for the EU to be abolished. First major clash under EU's new digital laws sets precedent for tech regulation. I saw a little bit about this, and I'm not sure exactly what the posts were or whatever, but it's an attempt to disallow free speech in the European Union. It was basically what it amounted to. So, there's a problem when you have free speech. There's people are going to say things you disagree with. Does that make it hate speech? Who knows? I don't know what the exact.
Yeah, whatever the context is. Yes, free speech, a license to let people speak their minds.
Yeah,
you disagree with that,
Right. Well, what was it? Was it Brazil where that blocks X because people were making fun of the leader of the country, and he didn't like that. So it was some country in South America.
Which one? The one in prison or the one that's currently De Silva? Is it De Silva?
I'm not sure, but I remember them being an issue before where they didn't want people to be able to criticize the government on X, and people would be able to see that they were being criticized.
Do we have that issue here? Not yet.
No.
Where we can be free, we can be still free to criticize.
Yeah. And Bill and I don't even agree on politics. I mean, we openly admit.
most things we agree on.
We agree on most things that are truly common sense, not the things that people
Yes.
try to pass off as common sense, right? But we live in Nebraska. I think you have a much narrower gulf between political parties here because we're all more middle of the road and not quite so at the extremes. And I think that's kind of a general nature. What was this? Jimmy Kimmel almost got fired with talking. Oh yeah, Jimmy Kimmel really got into it deep for saying some stuff.
Yes, unfortunately, the public objected, and he was reinstated. Now I've seen a movement to call on CBS to get rid of to reinstate. I guess the best word.
Oh, I'm losing you.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
I'm still here.
It was just like 1 second. I couldn't tell what you said. But the thing is, the problem with hate speech is who gets to determine what hate speech is.
I mean, are the comments of comedians considered hate speech? Well, if you support a particular point of view, I guess it could be. But from my perspective, I don't have a problem with what the Kimmels and the Colberts say.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's. I don't know. I take humor for what it's supposed to be. Doesn't mean I think that what they say is funny, but in the act of a comedian, I mean, I think all politicians are fair game for.
Oh, absolutely.
For that, and I have a hard time. I mean, I love watching some of the Saturday Night Live skits that criticize Trump and the administration.
The opening.
Yeah, and it's because a couple of the guys do it really well. If you do it really well, that's great. I mean, I really hated that lady from Alaska never got into the Oval Office because she looks so much like Tina Fey. And I really like Tina Fey as a comedian. And it's like, man, what a great career opportunity for Tina Fey.
Yeah.
And, but I've already forgotten. It was somebody, didn't she run for vice president?
Yeah. Okay. She's former governor. What is her name?
It's bad. It's like now I can't even remember who that is.
Yeah, former governor of Alaska.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it was just
jump in and comment and refresh our memory because we're such old farts. Our memories are bad.
It's sad. I remember the comedian though.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying. All right.
Sarah Palin. Thank you very much, Paul.
Yes, thank you. There you go. We need to we probably need some EV World swag we can send to people when they
right. There we go.
We'll
why don't you work on that?
Yeah.
when we figure out an actual revenue stream.
There we go. We're not selling out to Nissan.
Nope.
Oh yeah. No, I remember that. I can see Russia from my porch.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I guess if her porch is raised high enough.
Yeah, not even. She had to be clear out on the very tip of the Alaskan. What are the chain of islands? Out in the. Come on now. I want to say Aleutians. No.
Aleutians.
Aleutians. Yeah, that very long tip, and apparently there's 7 miles to separate the westernmost island from the easternmost island that makes up Kamchatka or whatever it is.
It was the only part of the United States that ever got invaded in World War II. Attu and Kiska were taken by the Japanese.
Yep.
And when we conducted an amphibious attack to take it back, we suffered 300 casualties and the Japanese suffered 0 because the Japanese weren't there. And it was the Americans and Canadians shooting at each other.
Oh, God.
They didn't know that the Japanese had abandoned the island. And anyways, when we went to, I guess, reconnaissance, didn't realize it didn't ever see anybody on the island anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's you start looking at that Pacific campaign and wow. Okay. Anyway, back to EVs.
Yeah, back to EVs. All right. And all right. Rockefeller Foundation. Nuclear energy could provide 30% of electricity for emerging economies. New report finds next-gen nuclear could deliver up to 30% electricity for emerging economies. I think it's going to be pretty high in there, but I tell people all the time that I have these discussions on, you really have to encourage industry to go in first, that with an agreement
Provide
to
a
have,
pull. To pull,
yeah, to provide a buyer for the initial nuclear energy, because the money isn't necessarily there from these poor, destitute people to pay for it.
It's all they can. It's all they can do to buy kerosene.
Yeah,
and that's expensive. I mean, that's their primary energy sources. To go buy kerosene in many of these countries.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anyways, tripling global nuclear capacity by 2050 is achievable if governments act now. Well, I think it's going to happen regardless, just because there's such a demand for energy. All right. Eve Air Mobility partners with Beta Technologies for eVTOL electric motors. Brazilian air taxi developer Eve Air Mobility will use Beta Technologies electric propulsion systems for the eVTOLs. Dual motor configuration provides propulsion redundancy for safety. I was under the impression in these eVTOLs that every one of those blades had its own motor.
That's been my impression. I've got a little one, and each one of those blades has a motor to it. But then I only have 4 motors, and the prop on each one of those. Some of these actually have they have props on the top and on the bottom of each little pylon. I'm going to call it a pylon, and they each have their own motors.
Yeah, so if one goes out, it's certainly not going to crash.
No.
All right. Let's see what else we got here today. I might keep that for tomorrow with Mike.
Should we take a minute and talk about what Mike and I talked about over coffee this morning on our kitchen table over here?
Oh no, that's what's going on.
Okay, so I have come up with this idea I am calling a solar bee yard, or a solar apiary, or short sol apiary. Okay, and the idea is it's basically a spin-off of agrivoltaics. So basically, agrivoltaics, you got all that ground spread underneath these solar panels. One of the largest has just come online in Texas. I think it's something like Wadsworth County or something like that. 520, I think it's 525 megabyte field. And so they've got all this open ground that's all grass. And what they're going to do is they're going to bring sheep in to graze that field. So they don't have to have, they can, get revenue off of, I assume, the sale of the wool and the sale of the lambs that the sheep may have. And then the money that's generated from selling power to the local utility or whoever it is going to, the Amazon or whoever it is, it's going to buy it. Oh, thank you. Yeah, 556 megawatts.
You said megabytes.
Did I say megabytes? I'm sorry, megawatts. My apologies, Guy. I appreciate that. I can't keep it straight. So anyway, what we're talking about with my idea is to do the same thing, but instead of herding sheep, we herd bees. We put a bee yard in the area where the solar is, and that ends up, that's the one down in Texas. Instead of, however, doing that looks like a single axis. It might be dual axis, I don't know. But instead of that approach, we're going with a vertical mounted solar fence system. And within that space between those panels, we have wildflowers, and we have the bees then that will generate honey and nectar and things off of the things. And I did a quick sort of calculation of which would make more money in an acre of ground. sheep grazing it or honey sales from the beehives. And the beehives, if you look at the total economics from the labor inputs and the revenues generated, the beehives far outproduce the revenue generated by the sheep. The advantage of sheep, of course, is that they can graze the grass, whereas the bees aren't going to be grazing the grass. Obviously, they're going to be taking nectar and things. So that's what we're talking about. Is that doable? Could it be done here? In the Omaha area? Mike, of course, has a history of being a utility, engineer for our local power group, and so that's what we talked about. We had very interested, and he's interested in talking to some people as well as whom I've been talking to. So we'll see where that goes. So keep an eye out for what I am calling for now the wildflower solar farm idea, or the solar bee yard, or whatever we end up coming up with. So it's an interesting project that might get us into doing a little solar and a little beekeeping while we're at it.
So the bees make the honey and you make the money.
We make yes, exactly. I like that. There we go.
No, that's not original. That's from a what is that? I'm trying to remember what the Pixar film was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's Bee Movie. It's just called
the Bee Movie. There you go. Yeah. Well, right. They typically will produce a surplus, and you don't take all the honey. I mean, I've been deep diving into the whole thing of beekeeping, and obviously you don't take you only take what we would consider the surplus, so that they can have enough to overwinter and so on. So it's a fascinating area, fascinating to understand what how they produce honey, and how they how they duplicate their hive and the colonies and things. It's just fascinating and it matches up perfectly with solar. It's just it's like maybe a wedding made in heaven, so to speak.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, but couldn't you still have sheep?
Oh yeah, you could have. The sheep, of course. You don't.
Let's take it a different level. Let's put some bison in there.
Well, hey, if it were me, I would put bison in there. That's a whole other story. But then I'd have to build solar panels that are basically bulletproof and tank proof, right? Yeah. You gotta, if you get a 2,000 pound, bison bull on the make with the local herd of females, that's going to do a lot of damage to those panels. Yeah, no, we'll stick with the bees. Maybe the sheep, maybe goats, but no bison.
Have you ever watched videos on trail cameras where they put a giant mirror or something in the woods and how the animals react?
How they react to it? Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Anyways, I'm sure you get some of that. So, I mean, I have even a turned off TV. My dogs will go crazy barking at the stupid TV because they see their own reflection on the TV.
Yep.
Anyways, all right. Well, that's all we got for today, folks. Appreciate everybody chiming in. I'll be back with
We've been all over the map as usual. So
yeah, we certainly have. Anyways, didn't expect to be talking about Atu and Kiska on the show, so that was a surprise. Anyways, all right, folks. Have a great day, and we'll be back tomorrow.